Welcome to the Quotive Corner. However this finds you, at the beginning of a fresh morning, somewhere in the grind of the day, or finally exhaling at night, I'm glad you're here. Let's take a few minutes to sit with a quote that sounds simple, but quietly dismantles a very modern temptation. There are no shortcuts to any place worth going. That line is attributed to Beverly Sills, one of America's most celebrated opera singers of the 20th century. If you're not familiar with her, Sills wasn't just talented, she was disciplined. Opera is not a field you casually enter. It demands years of vocal training, language study, breath control, performance endurance, and emotional range. You don't fake your way into that arena, which makes this quote feel earned. There are no shortcuts to any place worth going. We live in a culture that loves efficiency, hacks, accelerated paths, overnight success stories, productivity systems, optimization, and to be clear, efficiency is not a bad thing. Streamlining waste is smart. Learning from others' mistakes is wise. Leveraging tools is practical. But there's a difference between working intelligently and bypassing formation. Some destinations require transformation, and transformation doesn't shortcut well. If you think about the places in life that truly matter, mastery of a skill, depth in a relationship, integrity of character, credibility, and leadership, they are built over time. They require repetition, refinement, correction, patience. There's no app for character development. There's no fast-forward button for wisdom. There's no compressed download for credibility. Beverly Sills didn't arrive on stage fully formed. She spent years in smaller roles, years refining technique, years facing rejection. In fact, early in her career, she struggled to land major contracts. Her breakthrough didn't come until her 30s, which in opera terms isn't exactly early. But when it came, it was durable. Because it was built on foundation, and that's the heart of this quote. Shortcuts often bypass foundation, and foundation is what sustains success once it arrives. There's something psychologically appealing about shortcuts. They promise relief. They suggest you can skip discomfort and still reach the same destination. But if you skip the strain, you often skip the strength. Think about physical training. If someone hands you the result without the process, without the discipline, you might look strong, but you won't be strong. The same applies intellectually. You can memorize conclusions without understanding reasoning, but the first time you're challenged, the structure collapses. Shortcuts produce fragility. The long path produces resilience. Now, this doesn't mean you must suffer unnecessarily. It doesn't mean you ignore smart strategies. It simply means you accept that meaningful achievement requires engagement with difficulty. And difficulty is not the enemy. Difficulty shapes. There's a subtle maturity in embracing that reality. Instead of constantly searching for the fastest path, you commit to the steady one. And steady may not be glamorous. It rarely trends. It doesn't generate dramatic before and after narratives. It doesn't attract applause in the early stages. But steady builds something real. There's also a deeper philosophical angle here. If you remove the process, you remove part of the meaning. The struggle towards something worthwhile changes you. It exposes weaknesses, it forces adaptation, it builds humility, it refines intention. If you arrived instantly, you'd miss the very transformation that made the destination worthwhile. The journey is not separate from the value. It is part of the value. This applies beyond career or ambition. In relationships, there are no shortcuts to trust. Trust forms through consistency, through shared experiences, through weathering misunderstandings and resolving them honestly. In leadership, there are no shortcuts to respect. Titles can be granted instantly. Respect is earned slowly. In personal growth, there are no shortcuts to self-awareness. Reflection takes time. Patterns reveal themselves gradually. Insight often comes through repetition. And here's something that might sound counterintuitive. The absence of shortcuts is actually reassuring, because it means your effort matters. If there truly were shortcuts to every meaningful destination, then outcomes would belong only to those who discovered the trick first. But if growth requires time and commitment, then anyone willing to engage the process has access. It democratizes achievement. It places the emphasis back on discipline. Now, we should be careful not to romanticize struggle. The point isn't to seek hardship for its own sake. The point is to recognize that when hardship appears on the path to something worthwhile, it's not evidence that you're doing it wrong. It's evidence that you're doing something substantial, and that reframing changes how you experience difficulty. Instead of asking, "Why is this taking so long?" you might ask, "What is this building in me?" Instead of looking for a detour, you might lean into the work, because places worth going are rarely easy to reach, and if they were easy, they likely wouldn't be worth much. So here's something practical to consider. Is there an area of your life where you've been searching for a shortcut, where you've been hoping for acceleration without investment? What would it look like to accept the long road instead? To commit without constant evaluation of speed? Sometimes peace comes from surrendering the illusion of quick arrival. There are no shortcuts to any place worth going, but there is satisfaction in knowing you walked there honestly. Thanks for spending time here at the Quotive Corner. If this reflection gave you clarity about the path you're on, share it with someone who values depth over speed. And remember, wisdom isn't in the quote, it's in the reflection. I'll see you in the next episode.